today. Shalom, sir.
Shalom, sister. Viewers, good evening. Once again, welcome to Marriage Matters. So, today we shall be looking at things to avoid if you must be compatible. You know, compatibility is so much important in marriages. The moment you are compatible, I tell you, your marriage will hit the ground running smoothly. In fact, you will enjoy marital bliss. That's why we are hammering on compatibility. For those that are still courting, it is expected of them to make sure they follow these signs, these pointers, because it will really help them. Because when you are compatible, oh my God, you don't struggle in marriage. You enjoy your marital life. And that's why we are taking all this time to highlight so that people can learn. Even for those who are already in marriage, you can still improve in your marital life. So today, we shall be looking at things you must avoid if you will be compatible with one another.
We're going to go on a short break now. When we return, we'll see what he has for us more. Stay tuned.
Marriage does not cure lust. If it does, adultery wouldn't exist. Self-control and discipline still remains the best recommendation. Lust does not care of your age or status. Either you are married or single. You can be Daniel in prayer and fasting. You can be David in praise and worship. You can be Abraham in faith. You can be Joshua in victories of war. Or you can be Solomon in wisdom. If you are not Joseph in discipline, you will end up like Samson at the lapse of Delilah. Shalom to the bride of Christ worldwide. I am Brother Godson Dureke. I will be your host on the program Marriage Matters, only on BRIDETV. Join me as we look at issues affecting families and marriages. Compatibility in marriages, handling issues of third parties, marital health matters. Let's talk about sex in Christian marriages and many more. Don't miss out on this very inspiring program, which will be a blessing to your marriage. Marriage Matters, building a blissful marriage. Shalom.
Okay, welcome back. If you've just joined us, this is Marriage Matters, building a blissful home. And I have here with me our brother that is an expert in marriage. So I want to know what he has for us today.
Yes. Today we shall be looking at things to avoid if you must be compatible.
Okay.
Because there are things that makes couples not to be compatible. Okay. So we need to avoid those things so that the marriage can have fresh air.
All right.
So we are looking at today issues that we need to keep away in our marriages. Okay. Number one, you must not be defensive. Okay. If you want your marriage to be compatible, don't be defensive. A lot of people try being too defensive. That is logical. You ask them question, they use another question to answer that question. Okay. For example, where did you say you are going today? He said, why did you ask? No, that's not good enough for a Christian marriage. Because you need to be accommodative. You need to show signs of love. And being too defensive is not good. Because you only end up hurting your partner. And that can break the compatibility. Because if your partner is not the type that is matured, he may begin to avoid you. He may begin to ask you questions.
That's right.
So we are saying, don't be defensive. Avoid being defensive.
Okay,
if you know you want to be compatible.
Answering question with a question.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not right in a
that's
in an environment of compatibility.
That's the most common thing in Africa.
We are actually advising that couples should avoid being defensive.
Okay.
Number 2, don't always argue. Don't always argue. Because it breaks compatibility.
Okay.
There was a marriage that I tried to cancel both couples, and I discover both of them are lawyers. And they are having issues in their marriage. What is the issue? They argue always. And the first time I came to their house, on their dining table, what I saw was 1979 Constitution. I saw 2010 reviewed Constitution. I saw another Constitution, I think 99 also, 99 Constitution was on their dining table. It's an evidence to let me know that the couples, they've been engaging one another in strong arguments. And you don't build your marriage that way.
I see.
Because when you argue too much, you may make your partner to feel bad. Your partner may be hurt. Your partner may want to avoid you. So we advise, don't always argue. Don't always argue. It's not wise to argue if really you want to be compatible in your marriage.
Okay.
You know, some argue over football. Some argue over politics, even the economy. And some of these arguments are very hot. That at times you just find out that for the whole day you'll be avoiding your partner.
Yes, exactly.
So please, avoid
arguments.
It will help you to be compatible. The number 3 is, don't always want to be in charge. Yes, the man, the Bible says, is the head of the woman. Yes. But if you ask me, I will say, the man is the head, the woman is the neck. What turns the head? The neck turns the head, isn't it?
Yes.
So don't always want to be the one running the relationship. Give room to your partner. And that will be a sense of belonging to that fellow. Maybe you're a woman that is educated. Your husband may be an illiterate. Yes. Don't try to use your intellectuality against him.
Okay.
Don't always be the one making the decision, because that won't help that relationship. Every human being likes an environment of expression. Give him the room to express himself. It will help so much. It will help so much.
Give room for expression.
So you just have to give him that conducive environment for him or her to express himself.
Okay.
Don't be the one deciding. Every time you will decide the school the children will go to. You will decide the supermarket you people need to go to. You will decide when you need to travel on holiday or not. Only you. You don't allow your partner to do some. No, it's not good enough. You've not given him enough sense of belonging. And everybody needs it.
Yes, exactly.
So you must create that environment of sense of belonging, so that compatibility will be solid. It's very, very important. Don't be the one running the relationship. Give room to your partner. Whether he's an illiterate or not, give room to your partner.
Exactly.
Learn to carry him or her along. It will help you to be compatible.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. Say, don't be defensive. Don't always argue. And don't always want to be in charge. Wow, that's very interesting. I'm going to go on a short break now. When we return, we'll continue. Please don't get away.
Marriage does not cure lust. If it does, adultery wouldn't exist. Self-control and discipline still remains the best recommendation. Lust does not care of your age or status. Either you are married or single. You can be Daniel in prayer and fasting. You can be David in praise and worship. You can be Abraham in faith. You can be Joshua in victories of war. Or you can be Solomon in wisdom. If you are not Joseph in discipline, you will end up like Samson at the lapse of Delilah. Shalom to the bride of Christ worldwide. I am Brother Godson Dureke. I will be your host on a program, Marriage Matters, only on BRIDETV. Join me as we look at issues affecting families and marriages. Compatibility in marriages, handling issues of third parties, marital health matters. Let's talk about sex in Christian marriages and many more. Don't miss out on this very inspiring program, which will be a blessing to your marriage. Marriage Matters, building a blissful marriage. Shalom.
You're welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Marriage Matters, building a blissful home. And today, we are continuing with our topic, compatibility. And today, our guests started with things to avoid if you must be compatible in marriage. And he said, you must not be defensive. You must not be a defensive type. He said, you should not argue always in a relationship. Every time argument. He said, argument kills love in marriage. And he said, number 3 points, that don't always want to be in charge. Maybe every time you are the one taking decisions and all that. He said, give room to your partner to express his or her feelings. And we are continuing, sir. Point number 4.
Yes. Before we go to number 4, we are still looking at that issue of don't always control the relationship.
Okay.
Give room to your partner. That will give him sense of belonging. I've seen cases where people will say, oh boy, don't discuss the matter alone with the husband. Make sure the wife is there. Why? Because the wife ascribes so much power to herself in that marriage. Exactly. And I tell you, she have only succeeded in belittling the husband. There are cases too where they will say, don't discuss with the wife alone. Make sure the husband is there. Because the husband has made himself the final authority.
Yeah, the final say.
You can imagine people outside the marriage notice dates.
As in when he's not there, the wife cannot take any decision.
When he's not there, the wife does not have that power to decide on matters.
Wow.
Or the husband does not have that authority to take decisions. So he is completely not allowed if you must be compatible. So I tell you, create an environment where you share responsibilities with your spouse. Exactly. It will help you. Then the 4th one is reduce the tendency. Reduce the tendency of being too critical.
Okay.
Some people are extremely critical. They go to the restaurant, they criticize the waiter, They criticize the food. They criticize the restaurant itself. The taximan that took them, they criticize.
Wow.
Oh my God. Even the traffic warden on the road, they criticize.
And they shout at the person.
So you have to reduce that tendency. Some even end up criticizing their spouse families. When you do that, you are creating an environment that won't be conducive, both for you and even for your spouse. You can imagine when you criticize your in-laws, then you have just chased away peace. And that can make that man or that woman to begin to think twice about that relationship. So reduce your tendency of being too critical.
Criticizing anything he or she does.
Yeah, they criticize the neighbors. If they bring NEPA bill, they will criticize the NEPA bill. They will criticize the Loma bill. In fact, everything is about critical. Critical. No. Give room a little bit for a conducive environment.
Exactly.
For a good relationship. Because you may be reducing your love. You may be causing your partner to begin to think of looking for a comfort zone outside the marriage.
Outside the marriage.
Maybe that's why some men, when they close work, they don't come home immediately. They find where they will rest until it's getting late, so that the moment they come, you serve them, the woman serve them food, they will sleep off. Maybe that could be the cause. Maybe that could be the cause why some women have, if you ask them, who is your best friend? They say, Mama Dix, Mama That. Meanwhile, your husband should be your best friend. That could be the reason. Maybe that could be the reason. So reduce your tendency of being too critical. Because when you're too critical, the environment, that is your marital environment, will be under tensed. So that's why we say reduce it. And then the fifth one.
Okay.
Don't place unnecessary restriction on your choice. Learn to appreciate. It's very important.
Okay.
Because if your husband takes time, peradventure, he travels and he sees something he likes and he feels, oh, this will be good for my wife. And he buys it and then present it to you as a gift. Don't run it down. Learn to appreciate that effort.
So that you'll not be discouraged.
Because when you begin to run it down, when you begin to say, you should have bought the white one instead of the black one. And no, I would have loved the yellow one either. When you begin to come up with this restriction on choices, you are only discouraging him.
So such restrictions, it kills love.
It kills
love as well.
Yes, it kills love. It kills that interest of him seeing what he feels he likes and he knows it will be good for you. It kills that courage.
Okay. That
so
courage
next time when he sees it, he will look at it. Maybe it's a shoe, he likes the shoe, but he will say to himself, if I buy it now, this woman will criticize it.
Okay, so it kills the courage
to buy.
Okay.
The courage to get a gift for your spouse.
All right.
It kills it. So you have to remove that unnecessary, I call it unnecessary, restrictions on choices. It's very important because we are talking about compatibility. You must encourage him even when he makes mistake. I tell you, when I married my wife newly, I used to buy shoe for my wife. But one thing I didn't take cognizance of was knowing the exact size. You know, there could be 40 big size and 40 small size.
Yes, sir.
So when I buy 40 small size, it doesn't enter my wife. And to be honest with you,
No matter how she tried to pet me around it, it didn't go down well with me because I like the shoe.
Yeah, and you would want her to
and
wear
I wanted
it.
her to wear it. You know? So, and she tried to pet me to say, oh, you did well, you did well. I will manage it. And then she has to manage it. But down deep,
Inside.
I felt, oh, I should have known the exact size. And I began to learn. And that is when I came up that there is 40 small size and 40 big size. So when I want to buy for her, I will insist, give me 40 big size.
To avoid mistakes.
To avoid mistakes. So it is also beckon on you as a man to know exactly the size of your wife's shoe, the size of your wife's clothes. That's why we talk about compatibility. Because when you're too close, you get to know each other deeper. And these are some of the things you will know. That's why when we organize marriage programs, we ask the couples, what is your wife's favorite color? These are the reasons. Remove unnecessary restrictions on choices, including the men. Sometimes our wives buys out singlets, pants, and even shoes. Brother, don't reject it. Even if it's not your size, encourage her so that next time she will buy it correctly. Don't discourage her, please. Then we look at the sixth one. Please, don't marry somebody you will not like to be around with. Always, always.
Okay.
I beg you. It will be a disaster if you marry somebody you don't really like to be around with. Always. You have only used your hand to put yourself in a tight corner. Forget about the money. Forget about the handsomeness. Forget about the family he came from. Some families have, how do I put it, large, big names, reputable names. Don't marry because of the family your spouse is coming from, because it is not a guarantee that the person will behave well.
That is marrying a known family or a popular family.
Some people insist in marrying popular and rich families. Please don't marry for that purpose. Look for somebody you really love to be around with always, whether there is money or there is no money. We are advising, because we see marriages crash. I mean Christian marriages. I mean Christian marriages.
Yeah, I've seen one.
So please, don't marry because his mother is rich, his father is rich. Marry because that brother, you love him. That sister, you love him. Don't marry because of anointing, no.
That's right.
Not because you see the brother is, you know, he can cast that demon. He says, oh, let me go and marry this brother. If I'm there, demons will not come close. Even when they come close, he will cast them away. Don't marry for that purpose.
So some people really do marry for that purpose.
Yes.
Wow.
So many years ago, before I got married, I overheard a lady said, I want to marry a pastor. And I asked, I said, why? He said, when you marry a pastor, it is difficult for Satan to trouble you. That it is difficult for their village people to put charm, you know, to project or incantate against her. And I was looking at her. But the truth is that don't marry for that purpose.
That's right.
Marry because you love the person. You want to be around the person. You can always, even where there is no light, you will want to stay with him. Marry for that purpose, it will help you.
Amen.
That's why we talk about compatibility. You must learn to, for those who are yet to be married, marry to the person you can always be around with. It will help your marriage. You will not have issues where you are bored in a marriage. Exactly. Because his presence will always keep you company. Brother, I'm talking to you now. Don't marry for that purpose, because they have riches.
Wow.
Because they have name. Because it's a pastor's daughter. Maybe it's a GO's daughter. Wow. Don't do that, please. Look for your mixing rib. She may not be your missing rib. Look for your mixing rib. It's important you do that. It will help you to enjoy marital bliss. The number 7, things you must avoid. My dear, avoid not to think outside your comfort zone.
Not to think outside your comfort. Break it down, sir. There
are some people, they believe as it was before, so it is now, and forever shall it be. No. Give room for innovations. Give room for change.
Change.
You must think outside your comfort zone.
Okay.
It's important because it helps you to guide your marriage.
It's a change in the sense that the man or the woman might change.
No.
Nearby future.
Environment changes.
Okay. Okay.
For example, some of the people I counsel, one of the sisters made a comment and she said, I can't continue with my in-laws this way. She was having issues with the in-laws. But we must understand that in the African context, we believe in extended families.
Yes, you marry the man, you marry the in-laws too.
We are not like the Oyibos. Oyibos don't believe in extended families. Oyibos' extended family is the police.
Really?
Their neighbors are the dogs, that's their pets.
Wow.
But here, we believe in extended family. Your mother-in-law is important, your father-in-law is important, your brother-in-law is important, your sister-in-law is important. In that same marriage.
Exactly.
So we must think outside that. Don't look at the issue where some people say, I don't want to marry a man whose mother-in-law is alive.
That's a wrong statement.
It's a very wrong statement. You don't want to marry a man whose mother is still alive? Who is going to be your mother-in-law? No. You need to think outside your comfort zone. You need to understand that in marriage, there are things that builds a marriage.
That's right.
Tell me, if you are that mother-in-law who spends his time under the rain, under the sun, and train his son or train his daughter, and the child graduated, and then you married him or her, and then you don't want him or her to relate with her people. If you are that mother, are you going to be praying good prayers for them?
That's very bad.
Because every mother or every parent look forward to something. They look forward that in their old age, their children will take care of them.
Exactly.
Because all their efforts, you know, they struggle to train these children. And they are believing that someday the children will train them, will take care of them in their old age. So marriage cannot come and put a problem to that.
Exactly.
So it is important as a lady or as a man who is in marriage, create an environment where you take care of your in-laws. Create a conducive environment, be accommodative to them.
Accommodative.
Because they also have expectation to that their daughter, to that their son. So you need to think outside your comfort zone.
That's right.
Because some people just think only me and my husband, only me and my wife. No, sir. we are in Africa. We are not in America or Europe. This is Africa. So we believe in extended families. So please create an environment. That's why I say think outside that box. You must think outside that box. You must be accommodative.
Exactly.
People around you must feel your impact. Because if there are ugly incidences, definitely, of course, you know when you call the police, before police come, it's not like abroad. But here, you have to call your relations. So that's why we say these things help to make husband and wife compatible. And the way you treat your husband people or your wife people will tell your wife or your husband how good you are, how accommodative you are. It also increases the love. So it's advisable.
It increases the love.
Yes.
Okay. That's very interesting one. So
Exactly.
7 points, 7 things to avoid if you must be compatible. We're going to go on a short break now. When we return, we'll see what he has for us more. Stay tuned.
Marriage does not cure lust. If it does, adultery wouldn't exist. Self-control and discipline still remains the best recommendation. Lust does not care of your age or status. Either you are married or single. You can be Daniel in prayer and fasting. You can be David in praise and worship. You can be Abraham in faith. You can be Joshua in victories of war. Or you can be Solomon in wisdom. If you are not Joseph in discipline, you will end up like Samson at the lapse of Delilah. Shalom to the bride of Christ worldwide. I am Brother Godson Dureke. I will be your host on a program, Marriage Matters, only on Bride TV. Join me as we look at issues affecting families and marriages. Compatibility in marriages, handling issues of third parties, marital health matters. Let's talk about sex in Christian marriages and many more. Don't miss out on this very inspiring program, which will be a blessing to your marriage. Marriage Matters, building a blissful marriage. Shalom.
All right. You're welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Marriage Matters, building a blissful home. Before we went on a short break, our host was telling us things to avoid so that you'll be compatible with your partner. He said so many things. Don't be in charge in your marriage. Give freedom to your partner to express him or herself. You know, he said a lot of things about 7 points, and I believe that we'll put them into practice. And now, he's going to take us on things you need to do to improve your compatibility in marriage. So,
Yes. Once again, you're welcome. Somebody may say, why are we even talking about compatibility?
yes.
Let's look at the Bible so that you can understand that even God wants us to be compatible.
All right.
Look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 18.
Okay.
Let's see what the Bible says.
Genesis chapter 2,
Yes.
verse 18.
Verse 18.
And the Lord God said, it is not good that a man should be alone. I will make him an helpmate for him.
Thank you. And God said, God himself said, it is an error for a man or a human being to be alone. That is, he doesn't want us to be lone rangers in our marriages.
Sorry, he doesn't want us to be
Lone rangers.
lone rangers.
Yes.
As in,
He doesn't want us, while you are in marriage, you begin to do your things just yourself.
okay.
That is lone rangers. He doesn't want us to be lone rangers. That's why he said, don't want man to be alone. So God desired that we'll be together, do things together. That's why he brought in Eve, and Adam had a company, and they became compatible. So that's why we are talking about compatibility in marriage, because it's a foundation.
Really?
It's a foundation of every blissful marriage.
That's the foundational
Yes.
thing.
We look at another scripture again. Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Let's take from verse 9 to 12. Let's see what God says. Then we will come to the topic of how to improve your compatibility in marriage.
Okay. Ecclesiastes
Chapter 4.
chapter 4.
Read from verse 9.
And it says, two are better than one.
Hear this now, brother, sister. God himself said, two are better than one.
Because they have a good reward for their labor.
Because there will be good reward for their labor. That is to say, when two people work together, instead of getting one answer, they will get two answers.
Wow.
Go ahead, sister.
For if they fall,
yes,
the one will lift up his fellow.
peradventure one of them slipped and fell, the other one will be a helping hand.
But woe to him that is alone when he falleth.
Oh, he said, woe to him that is alone. Do you see that it's dangerous to be alone in your marriage? To do your things alone in your marriage. Let him be doing his thing. I will be doing my thing. Sister, brother, it's an error. Because the Bible says, woe to him that is alone.
That's right. For he had not another to help him.
Because when you will fall, nobody will help you. If you don't carry your husband along in your business, you don't carry your wife along in your business, your wife doesn't exactly know what you do, how can she be of help when you are falling?
That's a very serious question.
So, that's why the Bible says, woe to him that is alone. Continue, sister.
Okay. And it says, again, if two lie together,
yes,
then they have heat.
You see that? So, if the two of you come together, the Bible says they will have what? Heat. That is to say, you will be warming your partner and your partner will be warming you, just like the people say that this hand will wash this hand and this hand will wash this other one.
That's right. Okay, your partner will be warming you not only on bed and air areas in the marriage.
In every area in that marriage.
Not only in
the warming could be in the area of security. Okay. It could be in the area of protection. It could be in the area of provision. It could be in the area of preservation.
Okay. And
yes, in all ramification in that marriage.
Okay. But how can one be warm alone?
Thank you. God is asking you, you that have decided not to walk hand in hand with your partner. He said, how can one warm itself? How can you help yourself if you don't carry your partner along? If you are not compatible with your partner.
Okay. And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him.
Did you hear that? And in case there is trouble. He said, see, if they come against you, you and your wife will stand very firm to do what? To defend the marriage.
Yes.
Why many marriages are suffering today is because they are not compatible. I've seen marriages where the in-laws, they don't like the wife of the man. And they are looking for a way to knock her off because she stood against on certain things they were doing against the husband. They were making the man not to plan his future and the future of his children. And when the man got married, it became a problem. Because they still want to continue in that light. Okay, and the wife is saying, no, my dear, we need to plan for the children. Yes. When the children come, there will be school fees to pay. We will not struggle with paying house rent. So let's get a land, build our houses. So for this reason, the family did not like that woman.
They see her as a blockage.
So they felt she's hindering them from having their way. And they began to plot her to remove her from that marriage. And they began to cook up lies. Cook up lies to remove that woman. But because that woman and the husband, because they are compatible, there are things they will tell the man, the wife did. He said, no, it's not my wife. I knew her very well. And the man was defending his wife. That's right. To the tune where the mother had to tell him, I don't know what this your wife gave to you and you ate.
The mother of
the man. Because the man wasn't dancing to their tune. Because all the allegations, the man pushed it aside. So they began to say, maybe the man has eaten charm. You know? It's not charm. It is compatibility. The man is compatible with his wife. He knows his wife knows him. So there is nothing you will tell him about his wife that he doesn't know. So when you put the wrong one or you allege the wrong one, he will tell you, no, my wife can't do this. Exactly. So that's why we say these things. So you need your partner. You need to know your partner, because you cannot warm yourself. Because when the trouble comes, I tell you, if the two of you are standing firm, even spiritual troubles, the Bible expects you and your wife to do what? To be in agreement. That is compatibility. Because he said, one will chase 1,000 and the two will chase 10,000. So you can imagine that.
So there shouldn't be communication gap.
There shouldn't be communication gap. Okay. So we have to read the scriptures to let you know that what we are saying are Bible based. So that brings us to the next topic, which is things we need to do to improve on compatibility in our marriages. Number one is communication. Very vital. A lot of people make these mistakes, and I stand to correct it here. And let every married man, every married woman, or even those that are courting, that communication is very important. Very important. Because how can you be compatible with that communication? You know, some people look at communication from different angles. Sometime in my class, somebody misunderstood communication. He said, when we said, always call your wife, and always make yourself available to pick your wife's call. That your wife should have access to your phone always. Your husband should have access to your phone as a wife always. And some people mistake it. They say, no, I don't want my wife to be checking me. No, it's not checking your activities. Keeping a tab on you is not monitoring you. Forget what people say. They say he's checking on me, he's checking on me. Look, checking on you is not wrong. If you like, you can call it monitoring. But if you say your wife is monitoring you, I will say it's a positive monitoring.
Wow.
She's monitoring you positively.
Really?
So it's not an offense. Of course. You need to know the location.
So there is positive and negative monitoring.
Yes, there is. Some people say it's invading my privacy. See, brother, sister, let me tell you, if you are married, there is nothing like privacy in marriage.
Wow.
Even if you have to use the language privacy, you will say our privacy, not my privacy. Because the Bible says two has become one. Exactly. So your wife should have access to your phone. You do not lock your phone with password as a married man while you are at home. You can do it in your office. But when you are at home, as a married woman, you don't need to lock the phone.
Wow.
Because you share with your husband everything, including your phone.
Wait, you know, when you say having access to your phone, is it maybe there is freedom to, is it, as in, I want to understand, is it checking the phones or using it to make calls or using it just to I want to understand freedom and access to phones.
Let's look at it this way. There was a case where a man, he locked his phone, and he had a health crisis. Meanwhile, the answer to the health crisis is in the phone. And when the people came to help him, they couldn't access the phone.
Wow.
They can't call the wife, they can't call any relative because they are unable to access the phone. So you can imagine if you have such situation at home, and you have locked your phone with your so-called private password. How can your partner access to help you? You know, some of these phones have health tips that can help somebody.
Yeah.
So how can your partner help you? So I don't believe in what they say, invaded my privacy. As long as you are married, you no longer have privacy in that marriage. Even if we have to allow you use that language, privacy, you will say our privacy.
That's very interesting.
Not your privacy. So communication is important because you need to talk with your partner.
Okay, so what of in a situation whereby there is lack of communication, what would they do?
Yes, lack of communication is as well as your quarreling. Because if you refuse to talk to your partner and your partner refuses to talk to you, there is no difference between two people that were quarreling.
So what advice would you give to
So
them?
I tell you, there shouldn't be lack of communication. Because it is with communication, you get to tell your partner your weak parts. Say, in this area, I'm not very good here. In this area, I am excellent here. So that in the area where you are not good, your partner makes excuses for you.
That means they need to create time for each other.
So they should have time for communication. That's why we say, if you used to call your wife 15 times, increase it. There is nothing wrong if your wife calls you and say, have you eaten? How are you doing? Or you call your wife and say, where are you, please? Knowing the locations, there is nothing wrong. Even outside that, you need to call her and say, oh, baby, I love you. Or she calls you and say, honey, I love you. It keeps the relationship going.
Exactly.
Because you need to be with her or you need to be with him in the spirit. Whether you are present or not, there should be a link.
There should be that communication. Both
So communication brings you closer. Even though she may be in Abuja, you are in Lagos. So with communication, is as if you are together.
Okay.
So there shouldn't be break in communication. Then another thing that will help you to improve compatibility in your marriage is cleanliness.
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness is an attraction in compatibility. My sister, my brother, I tell you, nobody likes a dirty person.
Exactly.
Nobody likes a dirty environment. A lot of people like clean people. Even the word, they say cleanliness is next to godliness.
Godliness.
But I tell you, nobody will see a clean man and won't be attracted to him. So cleanliness is very important if you must be compatible. Of course, nobody will want to be around somebody that is stinking. No matter how you love the person. You know, when people lose their loved ones, no matter the love they have for the person, they wouldn't want to sleep with the corpse.
Exactly.
So cleanliness is very important. So let's make it a duty to clean up our physical bodies, use the best creams, use the best soaps. You know, when your clothes are dirty, you take it off and put on a new one. Don't wear dirty singlets, dirty pants. I tell you, it will improve your compatibility with your partner.
Wow.
Because when you smell good, oh, everybody get attracted to somebody who smells good. You can imagine that. Sometime I was in a transport vehicle and somebody walked up to me and said, I like your perf. I said, thank you. So people give you compliments when you are clean. So will your partner also appreciate you. So cleanliness is very important if you must improve on your compatibility.
Wow.
Then we look at timeliness.
Timeliness.
And the punctuality. Some people tell their wife, I'll pick you up by 8 o'clock. And by 10 o'clock, you are not there. It's not fair. It's not fair. I'll meet you by 10. And you are not punctual. You are reducing the love.
Wow.
You're making the person feel, next time, I won't rely on him. That's why some men, when they go to pick their wife has already taken a cab. Because they know it's a trend. He cannot keep to time. He's never punctual. So when they wait, if he told her or him, I'll be with you by 3 o'clock, that's when I come pick you up. By 3 o'clock, she checks the time, or he checks the time, and it's after 3. She makes an alternative. Because he knew you won't keep to time. And I tell you, it breaks compatibility.
It reduces love.
It reduces that love.
Wow.
Because one, if you pick your wife up at the right time, you know, while you are on that ride, so many things takes place. There are body touches. There are some sweet talks, lovely talks. In fact, it brings in a romantic environment.
Oh.
So you can imagine when you don't keep to time, when you are not punctual, and she takes a cab. So that's why we say, for you to improve, timeliness and punctuality is also important.
Okay.
Then, honesty and trust. Honesty and trust. Please don't play with this. Because if you cause your wife or your husband to distrust you, I tell you, you will start that marriage over again.
Really? Wow.
You know, they don't buy trust in the market.
At all?
But they earn it. So don't play with the trust in your marriage. Don't create an environment that will make your partner begin to feel distrust about you. Always try to be honest. It will help to improve that compatibility. Let all you tell your partner be the truth. Don't lie to your partner. Because we've seen cases where the man is never sincere, where the man is not truthful, or the woman is not truthful. And issues comes up. He said, well, until I see him, until I see him. She can't vouch for him or her. Because he knows this man is hardly truthful. This man is never, or this woman is never honest. So don't destroy the trust in your marriage. Because it will make your partner to begin to feel insecure.
He said when you cause your husband to distrust you, you build the marriage all over again. Yes,
you begin again. Whether your husband or your wife, if you cause your partner to distrust you, you will start the marriage again. How? Wow. Because you need to earn the trust now. You've destroyed the first trust. It's like a foundation.
You need to win his heart.
You need to work hard for him to begin to trust you again. And some never trust again. In the entire marriage, some of them will never trust you again. It takes the grace of God. Because for somebody to trust you, it's like handing over his or her life in your palm.
Wow.
So when you let it down, it is difficult for him to trust or her to trust you again. That's why we say, don't do the things. Don't do the things that will make your partner distrust you. Wow. Don't tell your partner you are going to Alaba or you are going to Badagry and you are staying in Oshodi. If you are going to Oshodi, say, I have left Badagry or I changed my mind or I am on my way to Oshodi now. Let your partner know your whereabouts. Don't let people come to tell your partner, I saw your wife or your husband in so place. and you never told your wife or your husband that you will be there. It brings in distrust. So, honesty and trust is very important. There are some women that cannot even leave their house help with their husband at home because the man has broken the trust before.
Exactly.
When they are going out, they tell the girl, oh yeah, enter the car. That's why I say, don't let your partner distrust you, because he will feel insecure.
Exactly.
It's very important. If you must improve your compatibility with your partner, continue to build on that trust. Continue to tell that truth. Continue to be honest. You know, at times, honesty don't pay immediately.
At all.
But it pays later. Because you earn it. You earn trust. You can't buy it with money. I tell you a story. Somebody who is close to me, he has betrayed the trust of the marriage. He's a man. His wife has caught him not once, not twice, with strange women. And each time she caught him, after begging, at times he gives her one big gift or the other.
And that's a Christian home?
They are Christian, but I'm not too sure if they are very deep in Christianity. Because the character tells me that. So, every time he continued to beg the wife with one big gift or the other. And I tell you, I engaged the woman in a discussion, and he told me, he said, see, this is your friend. If not for God, I will just poison him. Did you see that?
Serious.
That is what distrust does in marriage. You who decide to destroy the trust of the marriage, you're putting yourself at risk.
Exactly, exactly.
So that's why we say, don't create an environment of distrust. Brother, before you marry that woman, you saw other women.
Exactly.
So why are you looking from the window? Why are you looking from the window?
That's right. Looking from the window.
So that's something you need to avoid, because it will destroy the compatibility in that marriage. Some men, you see them, their wife don't like to walk side by side with them. Why? Because they are into so many women activities. Unholy relationships. That's why you see their wives. They prefer the man being in the front or being at the back. Because they no longer have that pride to say, this is my husband.
Husband or wife.
Because the man has made himself a public, a public usage. So the woman knows he's no longer the only one. And that's why she's beginning to drag her feet. So don't destroy it. Because when you destroy it, you will start the marriage again.
Exactly.
So, let's just look at one scripture.
Okay.
Let's look at Proverbs chapter 5.
Proverbs chapter 5.
Yes, verse 19. I want to talk to those men who are looking from the window. Of course, anyone that goes through the window is a thief. That's what Jesus told us.
Exactly.
In John chapter 10.
Proverbs chapter 5 verse
19.
Verse 19. Proverbs 5:19 says, let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe.
My brother, he said, let your wife be that loving hind. Let her be the one that you look at. Let her be the one that steals your look. Go ahead.
Let her breast satisfy thee at all times.
My brother, hear the word of the Lord. He said, that woman, let her breast be the only breast that satisfies you.
And be thou ravished always with her love.
Did you see that? Let her love be the only one that excites you. Let her beauty be the one that, you know, rattles your heart. Forget the strange woman. Pay attention to the wife of your youth. And your marriage will be blissful.
Amen.
So, another thing that helps to improve compatibility in marriage is keep the relationship fresh. Sister, keep the relationship fresh.
How?
Because if you take your time to understand how you began, go down memory lane. You will see that when you were courting or as a young couple, there were things you used to do. You know, you spend time together, you go shopping, you go to eateries. Keep that relationship afresh. Don't forget how you began. All you need to do is to improve on it. So don't begin to say, after all, we are married, so what's the big deal? My dear, there is a big deal. You need to keep the relationship afresh. You need to continue to do the things you were doing. Some of us, how we chase our wives before we marry them, there were things we used to do. You need to look very good. You know, take your time to beautify yourself. Arrange a nice dinner. Arrange nice lunch. Like me, I used to take my wife out for lunch almost every day before I married her.
Wow.
So you need to build on that. Some love text messages, romantic text messages. We were doing that. So you need to keep that relationship afresh. Something happened in my marriage. Let me share this. You know, as young couples those days, we exchanged a lot of text messages. Wonderful, loving, and romantic text messages. And we continued till after 10 years. But in the last 3 years, that's the marriage as at that time was 13 years old, as at that time. But I discovered in the last 3 years, we began to reduce our way of sending text to one another. The text messages we are reducing. I didn't notice it.
For no just cause.
For no just cause. So, before you know it, it changed from romantic text messages into text messages like, baby, please don't forget to buy the baby food. Please, buy us so, and so. And I didn't notice it. And I will respond. Say, no problem, count on me. And I was following until one day, I was preparing for a marriage class. And I opened my phone to make a call. I just saw a text message from my wife. And I said, baby, help us with Pampers. Oh, I began to look at all the messages. It's either help us with Pampers, help us with baby food. Oh my God, there is no single romantic message in that.
Wow.
I said, no. Something has gone wrong with me.
That's to tell you that you're not a father.
So I had to call the attention of my wife to this. And I said to her, baby, see, we are losing touch gradually. Oh. We need to get back. And we discussed and we are back again. So why I say these things is, you need to keep that relationship afresh. Those things you used to do. You know, there are some text messages that will come from your partner. Even if that day is bad, you will say that day is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you have pressures in the office, the pressure will turn to pleasure. You will not feel it. So you need to keep that relationship afresh.
Okay.
So at times you take her out. Not always you eat at home. You and your wife. Like I do it with my wife. We have 6 kids. So what do? At times we abandon the 6 kids at home. We say we want to go and share just between the 2 of us.
Wow.
Yes. We take a step out. We stroll. We eat in places and come home. We try to rekindle this love always. So my brother, my sister, I tell you, if you must improve on your compatibility with your wife, you must keep that relationship alive.
Wow.
Let me say this. Always aim to show the art of love. Always aim to show the art of love. See, there are word of love and there are acts of love. You know, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like I often say, there are two birds that come to cry in the morning around my house area. And every morning you see one, that one will be saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then the second one will be replying, show it, show it, show it. The other one is saying, I love you. And the other one is replying, show it. So there is art of love.
There is action.
That is action. So you must let your partner know. In fact, your partner should feel your art of love. So that's why we say always aim to show the art of love. Wow. Buy gifts for your partner, no matter how small it is. Don't always come home to meet him or her empty-handed. Even if, the last time I went to Ikorodu not quite long, and where I went to in Ikorodu, I saw something I feel my wife will need. It's not that expensive. I saw corn in Ikorodu. I said I will buy this corn for my wife. And I bought corn for my wife in Ikorodu. I said, my wife have not ate corn from that angle, from that area. So let me buy it. And I bought it. I brought it home and I gave to her. I said, see, I want you to test the corn from that Ikorodu. So no matter how little it is, it's encouraging. Show that art of love.
Wow.
Give her gifts. Madam, give your husband gift. He's not the only man they buy gift to. Women also give gifts. Because the love is 50-50. The love is 50-50. The both party has roles to play. So you must show your husband during his birthday, even when it's not celebration time. Please don't come home empty. Appreciate him more and he will love you more.
Wow.
She will love you more.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, sir. That's a very interesting one. I hope you had a good time. Keep the relationship fresh. Buy gifts for your husband. This, you are talking about compatibility in marriage. And today, he talked so much about the things you need to do to be compatible in your marriage. And he talked about things to avoid if you must be compatible in your marriage. You must avoid being defensive. You must avoid arguments in your marriage. You must avoid trying to be in charge. He said, give freedom for your partner. Then things you need to do, you have to be clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. You know, he really, really taught us today on compatibility. In our next edition, we hope to have very interesting topic. Sir, just a few words of advice to our viewers.
My advice to couples at home: marriage is a beautiful thing. A woman is a pillar and not a punching bag. Your husband, you are supposed to love more. So I tell those at home, please learn to appreciate one another. Madam, show more respect and submissiveness to your husband. Oga, love your wife more. Just like Christ loved the church.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Okay. In our next edition, it says we're going to look at sex and intimacy in marriage. Sex and intimacy as one of the things you need to do in your marriage for you to be compatible. But don't forget, if you have any question, you can email us and we'll answer you. Join us Same station, same time, next week. Shalom.
Marriage does not cure lust. If it does, adultery wouldn't exist. Self-control and discipline still remains the best recommendation. Lust does not care of your age or status. Either you are married or single. You can be Daniel in prayer and fasting. You can be David in praise and worship. You can be Abraham in faith. You can be Joshua in victories of war. Or you can be Solomon in wisdom. If you are not Joseph in discipline, you will end up like Samson at the lapse of Delilah. Shalom to the bride of Christ worldwide. I am Brother Godson Dureke. I will be your host on a program, Marriage Matters, only on Bride TV. Join me as we look at issues affecting families and marriages, compatibility in marriages, handling issues of third parties, marital health matters. Let's talk about sex in Christian marriages and many more. Don't miss out on this very inspiring program, which will be a blessing to your marriage. Marriage Matters, building a blissful marriage. Shalom.
You are watching the Bride TV.
Oh, I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Oh, and I've seen many searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Because you are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You are perfect in all of your ways. Oh, you're perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Oh, it's love so undeniable. I can hardly